Okay. We have Ryan DaWalt.
I'll just start by describing my work a little bit. I'm investigating the electromagnetic spectrum, looking for ways to describe unseen connections that possibly connect our imaginations to space-time. I'm using the grid as a way to map the materials and surface in direct vision without referring to symbols or figuration. I'm inspired by the light and space movement in California in the arts, the Italian modernist painters like Lucio Fontana, and they're interested in rich materiality. Gutai group in Japan, which was sort of a world arts movement, and they were very interested in finding the new experiences, no matter what, in any way possible, and also New York abstraction. Um, I first started using magnetism as an analogy for unseen connections, at which point I began to see the phenomenon of attraction, repulsion, and binaries, and how deeply it's embedded in language itself. For example, when we describe an emotion, we say we're attracted or repulsed or we're neutral. Um, I became interested in magnetism's relationship to the larger spectrum at that point and stopped thinking of it as just a linguistic analogy. So I started investigating the fuller electromagnetic spectrum, which, if you're unaware of that, it just means that there are all these forces that are waves, and the waves are either very large, like radio waves that are the size of mountains, to very, very small waves, which are like laser light, and you get down to like gamma rays and these sort of ionizing waves that are dangerous to us. On that is the visual spectrum, which is a very thin band. So um, my way of kind of investigating some of the like new experiences in the way that Gutai group might experience or try to create new experiences with materiality was to use materiality to kind of focus on the periphery of the visual spectrum. So for example, I'm using magnetism. I use magnets in the work. I create pigments that are hand colored that then are held to the painting with magnetic force. So in that, I'm expanding the visual spectrum to include not just reflected and refracted light, but also unseen connecting uh, phenomenon that are quantum, which is magnetism. And then also I've been recently starting to go to the other end of the spectrum and investigate uh, ultraviolet light. Ultraviolet um, and also chlorophyll. I did some drawings with chlorophyll. Chlorophyll has a relationship to the sun and food and solar radiation, and that chlorophyll is the production of food by plants in uh, bioquantum phenomenon, creating it food from radiation, ultraviolet radiation from outer space. So there's this relationship to um, almost just like magic, like food production that then we consume. It's really this energy cycle, um, but it also relates to the visual and the not and the unseen through the ultraviolet and the material of chlorophyll. I don't know if that's very clear or not, but I've been investigating the spectrum and unseen connectivity these forces have on our physical and our unseen world. I'll just throw a quote out by Marshall McLuhan. I've been looking at him. He basically said that we've moved from the printed word. He said the printed word came in with went out with is part of the Neolithic era, and we've entered into the electric text, which is screens and computing, which is an extension of our spine and our nervous system. So our bodies actually are bioelectric. They're interacting with these forces. They're interacting with our computer screens and our the magnets, that the electromagnetic spectrums that are happening within all of our devices, we might think we're separate objects from these things, but we're actually within a field of these things. We're extensions, we're kind of cyborgs in that way. So my work, I've begun using the grid very organically to just sort of map the surface of the thing that you see in front of you, so that it's really trying to deal with the spectrum and the materiality of the phenomenon that are occurring in front of you, whether maybe more felt than known, I guess. And that's basically what I would say about the work. So that little yellow piece there is a chunk of magnet. This is like a foam substructure, the green one. And I've cut into the foam and inserted magnets under the surface of the painting, almost like doing a surgery. Like I called it, it's like getting a nose ring, or like body alteration, right? There are people that put get magnets embedded in their skin surgically so that they can do these sort of magic tricks of lifting things and a variety of things, which fascinated me as this subculture. And I kind of included that in this work, in that I was using this foam, upholstery foam, and then filling it full of polymer, and then doing these surgeries in putting magnets into the surfaces, sewing them shut. And then when they dry, they're rigid surfaces, but they look like these sort of weird skins, alien skins or something. And then the pigment is hand colored, and then it gets just sprinkled on there. And it's actually being held to the surface just with magnetic force. So it's a direct relationship between the magnetic force and refracted light, which is my invention. It's a new experience. You can see in the orange painting, there are these sort of lines that go through that. Those are called lines of force. That's just from the magnetic material pulling these particles to the surface, and then I fix them to the surface with a clear fixative. And in some cases, like the one on the right, the green one, the magnet is actually in the painting holding the pigment to it. And then behind me, you can see the pigments that I'm creating now. They're ultraviolet sensitive pigments that will be on the surfaces of the new paintings.